Hello everyone, trust you're all doing well. In this video, we are going to be discussing on how to build a dashboard. And this dashboard is going to be for an e-commerce platform. Now I'm going to start by explaining what exactly is a dashboard. Now a dashboard simply displays certain types of information or data regarding a particular platform or tool. In this case here, an e-commerce platform. So from the dashboard, it's going to help us to convey, all related information about the e-commerce platform and how well it's doing. And from the dashboard, a user can be able to see clearly on everything that's actually going on within the platform. An example of a dashboard, which everyone must have, in one way have a contact with, is a car dashboard. And you can see from your car dashboard, you could literally tell what's going wrong or what exactly is the state of your vehicle, starting from how much fuel you have in your tank, or if your battery is good, are the doors opens and stuff like that. You could actually tell all of that from the dashboard of a vehicle or how much speed you actually go in. You can see all of that on the dashboard of a vehicle. Now that actually applies as well to digital products. And in this case here, digital product we're working on is an e-commerce platform. So most likely we'll be going to be looking at the overall performance of that particular e-commerce store, and the admin user can get to see all of this information. Now, without further ado, we can actually get started on building this dashboard design. Now, to get started, since I'm going to be designing for web, I would start here by creating a frame. And I'll come over here and I'm going to create a frame and head over to desktop. And we're going to be choosing the desktop frame. And here we go. Now, before we get started, I always recommend before you start designing the UI of your project, first of all, take a chill. Um, think about where exactly the information I'm going to need on this page. You could also try as much as possible to check out several other designs that relate to what you're designing, and then come up with a wireframe. Now, I did something really, really, really quick, just a really, really quick sketch of this wireframe. And I wasn't really bothered about so much details or certain text or content, but I literally just had this, sketched out just to have something to get started with. Okay, now your wireframe could be much more detailed compared to what you can actually see directly on the screen. Now, let's get started. If you look closely at what we have right here, you could see our dashboard actually has the sidebar, which you can actually see over here, our sidebar. And we also have the content section, which you can actually see where we have all of this information over here, from this stats to sales reports, top country by sales, recent order, trending products, and you can see your navigation bar over at the top section here. So we're going to be looking at how we can actually go about building this. Okay, now let's get started. So we have our dashboard over here. Our frame, right, for the dashboard screen. And I'll simply just rename this to dashboard. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do over here is to, first of all, I need to define a width for my sidebar. And I always set my sidebar to a width of 260. And I actually have this over here. Wow, that was almost perfect. Just increase by 1 pixels. And you actually have this right here. Okay, my sidebar. So I'm just going to assume that this right here is my sidebar. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing here is setting up a layout grid. Now, I might not really go into much detail with the layout grid, but I'm going to create a video highlighting how to actually go about calculating the layout grid for your dashboard and also how to use layout grid on your mobiles, designs, or tablets, or even designing for web. I'm going to show you how to do that. But in the case of a dashboard, it's actually a little bit different. So let's see how to go about that. So I'll come over here and click on my frame, head over to my layout grid. I'm going to just click on this here, click on my layout grid setting, and I'll switch from grid over to columns. Now, in this case here, if you all know, while designing for web, we actually use a 12 grid column, and I have that over here, 12 grids. Now, the next thing I'm going to do over here is to change the type. Because if you look closely at what we have right here, you can see that our layout grid actually spans across the entire screen, also covering out the section we have over here for the sidebar. And this actually isn't what I want to achieve. So I will have to make certain changes. Now I'll come over here and I'll be changing this right here, the type from stretch, which basically what makes the layout go to stretch out to the entire frame. And I'm going to be aligning this to the right hand side. Okay. Now, when you do this, you can see all of the layout grid just highlights over to the right section here. Now, this is where it gets tricky because you can see here now the width of each of these columns, right? All of those red lines you see here, they're all columns. The width of those columns that you see right here are now tiny. And I actually want to set this here to accommodate the content section for this dashboard. Now, to solve this, I literally would have to come over here and increase the width of this right here. You can see here it's currently 8, and as I increase this right here, it also what increases as well. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to be coming over here and giving this here a width of 71. I'll be giving this right here an offset of 40. Now, what happens is the offset here is offset the spacing on the right hand side, and I give that an offset of 40. And I also set my gota to 24. Now, what's the gota? The gota is the distance or spacing between each column. So each spacing you actually see between each column here is actually 24. Now, what I basically did here was I have a gota of 24 spacing between this right here. I have an offset of 40 at this point here. And also I left a little spacing of 24, as the spacing from the sidebar to the content section that we have over here. Now, with this done, we could actually proceed to continue from where we stopped. Now, I'm going to be starting with the sidebar, and I want to have something really interesting at the sidebar here. I literally want to build a collapsible sidebar for this task. So I'll be showing you how to go about doing all of that. Now let's go about styling this a little bit. Okay, so I'll come over here, still selecting my frame. I'm going to give this right here a feel of let's give this here FAFA, kind of like a smoke white. And also I'll be giving the sidebar here a color of white. And definitely this rectangle we have created over here at some point is going to change. Okay, so we have something as simple as this. If I would like to make this background a little bit darker, I can actually do that over here. Um, and let me just leave this over here at F5, F5, so you could actually see this much clearly. Okay, now let's head over to creating our sidebar. I haven't really thought about a name to give this particular dashboard, so I think I'm just going to give it anything for now. All right, so we're going to have a name for this platform and also a logo. Now, I haven't thought about a logo, so this is what we're trying to do over here. I don't have any logo designed, so what we'll do over here is we're just going to get one using a plugin. Now, I want you to launch your plugin and search for a plugin called Logo Ipsum. Now, how I got over here, the shortcut I did here was to simply press Ctrl P. Now, but if you haven't used this plugin at all, I would recommend you press Shift I, and I'm sorry, I recommend you just head over here, click on the tool here, head over to plugins and search for what you're looking for. In my case here is Logo Ipsum. So I'm just going to click on this right here. And this right here is a plugin that gives you, so many suggestions. You can actually literally get any kind of, logo designs that you could actually use for your project. And in my case here, I could just, pick anything that I really find interesting in this case here. And you have several other stuff you can see localized. You have circular logos, you have curvy logos, you have geometric logos, and a whole lot more, right? So if you're looking to, let's say you're working on a task, you don't have a logo, maybe something for your case study, you could actually use this plugin to generate logos that you want. In my case here, I think I'm just going to go with this right here. I think I'm just going to go with this right here. So come over here and I'm just going to add this. Now we'll do that. You can see we have our logo added over here. And let's say I would like to call this app, let's just say Kinto. Um, so I was thinking of having this called Kinto Store, but I think I'm just going to stick to Kinto. And now, one thing we need to do here now in our typography is to actually decide what typography that we're using. I'd have loved to stick with Inter, but you know what? Let me try something a little bit different. So that I'm just going to use Public Sans in this case here. Quite fun. And I'll be setting the height of this right here to 18. I think I'm just going to give this right here. Um, Let me just leave it right here at bold. Also, I will be scaling this down a little bit. So let me scale this to 24. Okay, so now I have this right here, which I plan on using for my logo. Okay, so what I'll do over here is I could simply just, pick these two and get to use that straight up. So I could select both of them. I could apply auto layouts to both of them. Okay, now there's something tricky here. Now, if you notice one thing here, when I applied auto layout Shift A, you can see it's supposed to contain both the logo and the text, together within the auto layout. But currently, what's happening here, it's not. And the reason for this here is because this text we see over here is inside this desktop frame. All right, it's inside this desktop frame. However, the logo isn't. And so what happened here is just applied auto layout to both of them. All right, so what I'll do over here is I would simply drag this all the way outside. So I'm going to leave this outside here, and I'll simply just apply auto layout to both of them. And see, I'm okay with what I have right here. I really don't want to spend too much time on this. Let me just call this logo. Okay, let me just call this logo. And so, say I am cool with this. Let's just see how this looks like. Not so bad. Now I'm going to make this a component so I could easily just reuse this wherever I want. Okay, so I have this over here. Now I'll literally just bring this over here. Now we have this done. And I most likely scale the height of this right here to 32. Let's see how that looks right here. Okay, now this is done. Leave the spacing here of 16. Okay, so right here now I have my logo. Okay, right here now I have the logo created. Now, if you look closely at what we have right here, oops, I think I would like to also expand and decrease this right here. So what I'll do over here is I'm going to be getting an icon for that. Okay, now if you're looking for an icon library or an icon kit to use, I would recommend using ViewSax. Now, in this case here, I've published my ViewSax library, my ViewSax icon as a library on Figma. So I'm literally just going to call that. So I'll come over here to my assets and I'll click on this library and I'm going to search for my ViewSax. And I have this over here. I'll just click on add. And after I have done this, I've added the ViewSax icon to this particular design file. Now I can easily call any icon within the ViewSax icon set directly in this file. So I can come over here and I could search for, so I'm looking for like an indent increase. Uh, Now, let me check for, so I actually want to use a single icon all through, like a single icon UI kit, all through the design. So for now, I'm just going to just pick an arrow. I'm just going to pick an arrow to for this here. So I think I will just go with arrow right, and let me just insert that over here. Okay, let me just insert that over here. So I have this. Okay, so I think I will do this the other way around. So instead of arrow right, I will search for arrow left instead. Let's use arrow left instead. I've automatically switched this. Oh, you know what? Let's switch it. So Shift H to flip this icon. Now that this is done, I would come over here and let's just say we have this. Okay. I'll scale this down a little bit. So I'll be scaling it here to 18. And I'll be applying auto layout to this. And for now, I'll just give this here a slight stroke. Okay, let's just have this way for now. And as for the padding, I'll just give that a padding of 4, a corner radius of 4 as well. Okay, so we have something very, very simple right here. Now, if you'd like to see what you're currently doing, you could simply present this. That way, you could actually, have a view of what the dashboard is currently looking like at the moment. So let's just continue. Okay, now that this is done, I would select both of this right here. I would apply auto layout and also align this right here to the center. So I have something as simple as this for now. And regarding the width of this here, I want to have a spacing of 16 left and right. And I'm just going to reduce the width of this right here to 228, and I am able to achieve that right away. Okay. Now let's head over to the section here where we go about creating our menu. So we have this right here, we have our menus. So let's go about creating that, guys. So what we'll do here is I'm going to be creating a component to handle that. I'll be creating a component to handle that. So let's get started on that, guys. Now here I'm going to create this, have a text here. I'm just going to call this menu item. This here, I will leave this here at regular, and I'll give this here a size of 15. As for the height, I'll just give that 24. Okay, let's just pass that here by 22. Then I'm going to get an icon. Okay, um, so we could actually use this here. Let me use this icon here for the dashboard. For the menu, this is just like a placeholder, and this can be swapped. So I have this over here. I have this over here. And okay, so we have this. Very, very simple. I'll select both of them, these two, and I'm going to apply auto layouts. The gap between this here, I will set this to 8. Now we're going to do a little, a few more things here now. Now, one thing I'll do here is to add a little padding. So I'll give this right here a padding of 16, but I'm going to reduce the horizontal padding. So I'll come over here and give this horizontal padding, sorry, a vertical padding of 8. Now we have this done. Okay, now we have this done. Now one last thing I'll do here is I'm going to be selecting this menu item, and I'm going to be giving this here a field container property. Okay, so now I have done this. Now you might ask, why am I giving this here a field container property? So if I should undo this, all right. So what I'm trying to avoid is a case like this here, where you have, you know, some cases where you might have lots of stuff, you might have this not really expanding properly, but in this case here, it is actually ball. To avoid any other situations like that, I'll simply just give this here a field container property. Now that that is done, I want to create several states for this. Okay, I want to create several states for this. I think I might also reduce the horizontal padding to 12. All right, let me just give that 12. So I have this right here. I want to have several states for this here. So a state where the menu is active, a state where the menu is at a default state, and also a state when the menu is hovered. So if I want to have those three, I could simply do that. So what I'm going to be doing here now is this. The default state, we have this, and I'm going to be changing the color little bit, a little bit. So I would come over here and let me just pick something a little bit grayscale. Okay, so let me just say I want to use the same color for this. All right. Um, let me just light a little bit. Okay, so I have this done. Oh, alignments. Yeah. Okay, so let's say this is the default state for this. Now I will just simply, I can do this right away at once. I'll make this here a component. And what I'll do next here is to create a variant, or we can do this the other way around. So let's do it different this way, okay? So I'll create another state here where this is active. Now, when it's active, I'm going to give this here a fill. I think for the fill, I might just get to use the same color that I have over here. Let me just say a fill of white. So I have something as like this. Also, I think I will just give this here a corner radius of 8 as well. Let me just reduce that a little bit. Let me give that 6. Okay, so we have this over here. And I could actually create a hovered state as well, like when this is hovered on. In this case here, let me just take that off. And I think I'm gonna just change the color, a little bit. So let's say when it is hovered, we have like a light shade of this right here. Or we could still, leave it this way if we want to do something like that. So now that we've done this over here, I think I might want to even change the icon, you know, when it's active to bold. All right, I think I would like to change that to bold. Okay, now that we've done this right here, I'll simply highlight everything I have over here. And I'm going to create a component set. So I'll say here, create component set. And I will name this component, or let me just take it outside so you can see what's going on here. Switch over to files. Okay, so I have this over here. And let me call this here menu. Okay, so I have this right here, nav menu. Now, one last thing I'll do here is to create different states for these guys. Now, if you look closely here, Figma currently just sits right here as property. So take for example, when I want to use this here, I'm currently just saying frame 3. And so if I come over, I can say I'm just saying frame 3, frame 4, frame 5. I need to set a distinct variant property name and value for them. In this case here, I'll be changing property 1 and I'll be calling this right here state. Okay. Now, what I'll do next here is I'll select this right here and change the value, set the value for this state here. So this right here is our default state. This right here is the active state. And this right here is the hover. So let me just say the hover state. Okay, and now that I have done this, what I'll simply do here is to call my nav menu. So I can come over here, press Shift I, nav menu, and I could just use that in here. I think you should also cultivate the habit of having to call your component rather than dragging them from where you have them here. Because if you're working on a very, very large file or a very large design file, you most likely are not going to have your component lying very close to where you're designing. So you should cultivate the habit of calling your components when you need them. And so we have this over here. I'll simply just increase the width of this, all right, to fill this up here. Now, if I would like to add one thing here, I think one nice thing to do here is if I want to save myself the strength of having to come over here and start changing the names, I could create a component property. I think that would be nice to do. So I'll come over here and click on this text that I have over here, right? I could just click on all of them, all three of them. And what I'll do here is I'll come over here, click on this. Where do I have that? And click on this icon here, right, that says apply variant property. But I'm going to create a new one. So I'll click on this right here, create a new one. I'll call this here label. Okay. That's going to be the label for this particular the menu itself, and the value for them is just going to be menu item. And I'll show you what I've currently done over here now. So take for example, I select this menu item. You can see over here where we have the component property, I have this here called label. I can easily come over here and change this here to the name of this particular menu item, which is dashboard. And I can see how that automatically changes over here. Now I'm simply going to duplicate this. All right, and let's say we have about a few of these, pages. And let's just say we have a few of these pages, which we have over here. And say I'm good with this. Now, the next thing I'll do over here is I would select all of them. One, two, three. You know what? I think I'm just going to do something really, really, really fun right now. So, say I have dashboard, um, dashboard, products, customers. I could actually select all those three. I will apply an auto layout to this. And I could actually use the Figma auto suggestions to help me in generating several names for this. So let's see what it does for us. You can see how fun this is. I really love this auto layout feature, and this is basically using the Figma AI. All right. So if you haven't signed up or if you didn't sign up for the Figma AI tool, you most likely are not going to have this. But if you do, that's a really, really good bonus. So right now I have this over here. Now the page I'm designing for is the dashboard page. So I would definitely want to have the dashboard menu to be active in this case. So I'll come over here by clicking on that particular nav menu, head over to my state and switch this over to what? To the active states for the dashboard. I can see this is how this currently looks right now. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing over here is just a tiny little difference is what I'm going to be doing over here. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to be clicking on this right here, and I'll be adjusting the spacing I have between this. Now, I think I'm just going to come here and give this a spacing of 8. All right, I think I'm just going to stick to 8 for now, and I can actually come about changing this later on. Then when we have the icons, we could actually come over here and change the icons. So I don't think we have an icon called product in the view stacks. So I'm just going to search for box. Okay. I think I'm just going to search for box and I'll simply just update that over here. Same thing as well too. So I don't think there's customers, but we have people. So I can, sorry, do we have customers? No. Okay, I don't think I allowed that to. Okay, now so we don't actually. So let's just search for people. Yeah, so we could actually just use this. We could actually just use this, or we could actually search for users or user. Mm, no, so we can actually pick one. I think I'll just go what I have over there already. Then we have for other. I don't think we have for other as well. So what I'll do here is I would search for receipts. Yeah, we have something for receipts. You know what? I think I'll just go with this right here. Okay. And I'll switch that. Likewise here where we have inventory. Hmm. So you know what? Let me just use this over here for the inventory. Okay. I think I'm just gonna use this here for inventory. You also have sales. Now the tricky thing about using icon set. If you're not using a very, very large or very, very elaborate icon set, you might actually struggle having to, get certain icons that you are currently looking for. And, this happens. In some cases here, you could actually create your customs or you could actually use other plugins like View Sacks, sorry, like Iconify, so, to search for icons of choice. But I'm just going to keep searching. If I don't see any, I will just keep, so I don't get to make the video longer. All right, so now I've been able to, search for some icons to change all these other ones that we have over here. Almost looks like feedback and support quite looks the same. Okay, so we have this over here. Now we're going to make a few more changes, updates. Now come over here and I'm going to be adding a text here that is going to say main menu, and I would have this somewhere here at the top. What I want to do here is to ensure that this here aligns properly with the icons we have here. I would like to have this, all on the same baseline as much as possible, which is what I'm actually trying to achieve over here. Now that I have this done, okay, looking good, looking good. What I'll do over here, just a few updates. I'm going to be applying auto layout to this text, and I would simply increase this, increase this as well to fill up that the entire sidebar, which is currently 260. Now this text here, I'll give this here a field container property, so it's not just aligned to the center. And as for the auto layout, I would give this a vertical padding of 16. I would have to make adjustments here. Okay, vertical padding of 16. All right, let's go with the rows we have over here too. Yeah, let's go with this. And as for the padding, let me see from this icon or this vector I have here all the way down to this here, 14. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to give this vertical padding of 14. And I think that way I have this all on the same baseline, all on the same baseline. Great. I would try to close that space up as well. And also, I would also update the color of this. So some form of gray. I think I'm I think I might just okay. Let's just go with this. Let's go with this. So one tiny thing, I think I'll come over here and change that, make that all uppercase. Great. Make that all uppercase. We'll also reduce the size in. Let me give this here a size of 11. Let me make that 12. The line height, let me just have this right here stick to. Great. Now that that is done, let's quickly head over to the last section I have over here, and we can simply do that. I will create an eclipse, and this eclipse here is going to hold the avatar of the user. I'll just give this here a size 28. It's also going to hold the name. Now, let me call this. Now, my text is currently set to all caps. I'll have to reset that back to the default. Let me call this. Okay. And right below, let's say here's the super admin. Nice. Trying to make this smaller though. Well, that's not really much of a problem. Let me change this over to this. I think I might just leave it the way it is for now. And I'll just apply auto layout to both. Give that a spacing of 4. Let's see. I think I'm just going to just reduce that. I'll just give that 2. And here we have the avatar. So let's just make this here. I think I'll just give it the same size with that of the menus. Adjust this right here to her content. I probably just increase this a little bit more. Make that 40 instead. Mm, just drop that a little bit to 32. Okay, so having done that, I want to get an icon. More of going to be like a switch. When they get to click on it, it's going to provide more options for them. So let me provide that as well. Now, this is actually not the right icon I'm currently looking for. I'm looking for an arrow up and down, but I'm currently not seeing that now. Now, I might just have to search for a plugin called Iconify. Let me see if I can get something like I could actually use in this case here. Now, what I'm looking for is a chevron up and down icon. Yeah. All right. So I'll just go with this one here, and I will import this as a component. I'll import that as a component, and I'll close this. Now, whenever using a component, your component should always be outside, please. Always leave your main component outside, duplicate and bring in the instance of that component inside your design. That's the best way to go. And you might ask why. Now, whenever you're bringing in your main component, any updates or any changes you make to this main component is going to affect every other instances where you've actually used them. Now imagine a case here where I come over here and I reduce the size of these guys here from 24 to let's say 18. You see what happens? It also affects the child component, which is the instance as well. It affects it too. So try as much as possible to avoid situations like that. Okay. So leave your main components outside. And another reason again is you can't swap your main components, but you could actually swap the instance of this component for another component. And I always recommend using the instance. Now in this case here, I'll be scaling this down to a smaller size of 18. And I'll be applying an auto layout on that particular icon. For the padding, I'm going to be reducing this a little bit. And I think I'll drop this as way much down, way much below this. And also I'll be giving this here a stroke. I want something lighter. So say I want to head over for this. Don't worry, all of this right here is going to change at the long run, and give this here a corner radius of 4. So I have this right here. So we can get an image for this. Control P. I could use plugins like your pixels, your why this plugin is just escaping my memory. But you could actually use all of these plugins to generate image. So let me just head over. I get pixels, and yeah, you could even use content through. I kind of like content through as well too, but I only use content through when I have like massive elements I need to fill, be it a text or an image. I'm just gonna go with the first image I have over here. Anyone is fine. I think I'll go with the first one. Okay, now with that done, I'm just going to make a few more changes over here. I think I might just increase this to a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so I have this and I'll set the spacing. Mm, Let me select this 1, 2, 3. Apply auto layout to all three of them. Okay, and okay, I just set the spacing between this right here to 8, and not to worry though. You shouldn't be worried. I have a plan on fixing this part here. You know what? So what I'll do here next is I would click on this section here, and this here is going to have the field container property, everything here. So I'll come over here and give this here a field container property. So that way, whenever I get to expand this right here, it just, everything just fits properly. -5. Okay, great. All right. I think I would also make a tiny little change over here as well. Make this here all caps. Yeah, the line height was way below this, and that's, you should always try as much as possible to avoid situations like that, where the line height of your text is smaller than the font size. All right, try to avoid situations like that. Okay, so I have this over here. I have this over here. Now let's say with this done, I would like to give this here a stroke and also give this here an around padding. I'll give this here a corner radius of 8. Yeah, not to worry. I'm going to come up with a color for this. Um, so I think I might just give this here a fill instead. Okay. So now we have this done. I'll make just a very, very, very minute change or updates over here. And that has to do with the icon size in this case here. It's just going to be a very minute change on the icon. And what I plan on doing here is, let me just select all the icons we have within this component here. And I'm just going to scale them to just below 22. Okay. And that's also going to affect the height of these guys here as well too. So previously the height was actually 40, and I still want to maintain that same height. So I think I'm just gonna adjust this here. Just give that 10. So I have that same height fill. And also the gap from the icon to the label, I think I'm just gonna just increase that to 10. Okay. I think this is not looking bad anymore. Also, I would like to change the color of the text for this. I think I'm going to replace that with this here. Okay, so I'll pick the default state that I have over here. Let me just paste that over here and update this one here to the color code. Okay, great. Now we've actually sorted this part out. We are going to do something very minute, not really going to be much of a hustle. Now, what we'll do here is I don't want to have this be as a rectangle. Likewise, same thing I have over here. I want everything to be auto laid out. That's what I have, the plan I have for this section here. So, which is what we're going to try to achieve. Now, where I have this section here, I'm going to, this is already an auto layout. What I'll do here is I'm going to just give this right here a padding, all right? So I came over here and give this a vertical padding of 20 to the top and the bottom. Then next we have this section here. So I'll just close up that space. We have this. Okay, great. And then we have the bottom section I have here. Nice. Now, the next thing I will do here is because of this is always going to be, somewhere at the bottom. So what I want to do here is I would simply select everything I have over here, right? Simply select all of this, one, two, three. I would apply an auto layout to hold all that section and then select this here as well and also apply an auto layout shift A. Now, the next thing, the next thing I'll do in this case here would be the spacing I have here, which is the 16. So what I'll do here is I can simply delete that rectangle that I have there now. And I'm going to assign my own horizontal padding of 16. And also I'm going to increase the width here to 260. Now we have that, looking good now. And lastly, I want to have this a little bit spacing at the bottom section here. So I'm just going to give this here spacing at the bottom of 20 as well. So, all right. Oops. The bottom alone. So come over here and make this 20. What does it make it? 16. All right. So with that done, I can just resize this over here to fit the frame. All right, now, so with that done, we have the sidebar looking just the way we want it to look. One last thing here is to give it a feel of white, which we have done right now. I would most likely want to reduce this. I've been thinking of that. Just scale down the logo a tiny little bit, a tiny little bit. So let me just resize this here to 28. Okay, so I have this. And because of this auto layout, everything, scales properly well. Now that we have done this now, we have how the sidebar currently looks, all right, when it's full. Now we're going to be creating something for the collapse state of the sidebar. What do I mean by that? Now, when we come over here and we click on this, to collapse this, how exactly does it now look like? And which is what we're going to try as much as possible to create here. Now, what we're doing here is I think I might just, let's just leave this for now. And maybe later on we can actually go about creating the collapse state. Let's just forge ahead with what we have right here. Now let's check out the content section. So here we have the page title for this dashboard and several other navigation options. We have the profile avatar, a notification icon, and a search option as well here. So let's go about picking that. Um, Now I'm going to be using, you're going to see me using shortcuts here very often. So I'll just simply press the key T on my keyboard and I'll go about designing. So here, that brings up my text tool. And I have this right here, dashboard. And I'm going to bring, let me style this. So I think I'll leave this here at the size, style font size of 24. I'll just give it a line height of 32. And as for the color, I always try as much as possible to avoid using a hue color, a pure hue color, like a pure black, you know, or even any other color like my blue or any accent color I want to use. Literally, I avoid using the pure hue colors. And this basically just helps, in helping with how the color looks, not making it look too blinding or too sharp. All right, so what I'm doing over here is I'm simply just going to pick my dark color from this over here. All right, so I think I'll just settle for this here. Let me just increase saturation to 14, and let me just make this here 18. All right, cool. So I have this over here for my page title. Then let's go about the other aspect as well. And here we have the profile, avatar, and a few other things. But I think I'm going to. I think looking at this right now, I think I'm just going to avoid, having the name, because what I planned originally here was having the name, and probably an email section here. But since I already have that at the bottom part of the screen here, I really not see reason for me to duplicate. So what I'll do here is I'll simply just have the avatar itself there, and have like an active indicator indicating, okay, the online status of this particular account. So what I'll do there now is, let me simply come over here, and I could just replicate this. So I'll click on this and simply just take that all the way to the top. Now before anything, yeah, I think what I'll do here is I just want to do something really simple. I want to change this email as well too. All right, I want to change this email. I'm just going to use lorem ipsum to generate a basic demo email. So once I launch the plugin, head over to fake data and I can see something for email. Where is it? Yep. And yeah, also I'll be resetting this text, removing the all cap. So we'll reset this here to as typed. And this is all looking all bold. So I think I might just have to, let me reset this first and then launch my plugin all over again. So to relaunch previously used plugin, simply just click Control Command Alt P to do that. Oops. Okay. Yeah. Case. Yeah. Okay. So let me just clear that out. Control Alt P this time around. It's usually in case this right here. So you know what's gonna happen. So what I'll do here is I'll simply just reset this. Let me just type something myself over here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. So we have this part sorted out. I think I would also just use this as well for the email. Yeah, I'll just stick to that for the email. Okay, now back to where we were. And here we have the profile avatar. If I get it on my layout grid, so I designed this with caution. Then I'll increase this right here, give this here. Let's just make this 38. Okay. Next thing here is I want to have or add my online indicator. So what I'll do here is I'm just going to create a cycle on Eclipse. I'll just press the letter O on my keyboard and just get to draw something really simple. But here, this I'll give you a height of 8, and I'll just put that status somewhere here. All right. Now I'm going to be changing the color of this to green. Let me just pick something around here. I will also add the stroke, and this I'll give white. So we have this over here, and you can just make that. So now you can see here, when I increase my stroke, you can see it literally reduces the size of, the grain angles, right? The grain parts. And that's because of the border radius becomes thicker, and then it's kind of like scales inside or increases inside, thereby reducing the field that we have for that particular eclipse. Now, to avoid a case like this, what I'll do here is I'm going to change my strokes. What I'll do here is I'll set it to outside. Now, when I set this to outside now, the strokes basically applies outside the defined width and height of this particular um, eclipse I have here. So now that has been done, I will increase the stroke here to 2. I can see here, just by increasing it, it is not affecting the size of the fuel we have over there. Okay, so having done that, now I have this done. I would simply select both items, and I'm going to be applying auto layout to them. All right. Now, in this case, when you do something like this right here, you see you have it looking this way. But what I will do here is I will be clicking on this, and I'll be giving this here an absolute position. So I'll come over here and give absolute position. I'll just align to the bottom right. So I have something like this here. But I'm going to take this a little bit up, 2 pixels up. Yeah. So I'll leave it this way. Okay, so now we have this. So let's just have this on the side. Okay, done. Now the next thing here is I'm going to bring in my notification bell. So I'm just going to search for notification. Remember, we already added a view SAS icon already. So we already added that as part of the library here. So we can easily call in icons we want to use. Now that that's done, the next thing I'll do over here would be to apply auto layout. Okay, now I always recommend that whenever you are building or designing, whenever you're looking to design your icons and you're looking to apply auto layout, try as much as possible to make sure that that icon that you're bringing in is a component or an instance of a component. So that way, when you apply auto layout to that particular icon, it doesn't overtake the frame of that icon. Okay, so we have this here. I would simply apply auto layouts to this by pressing Shift A on my keyboard. Okay, and now that that's done, I will simply click on my icon. I will scale this a little bit down and just scale that down to 22. Okay, now I have this here. Now I'm going to give this here a stroke, and I will give this, definitely change the color of my stroke. Okay, and also I'll give this a corner radius of 50. So I want to have like all perfect corner radius. Also, I'll be changing the color of this icon as well too. So I just want to have this for now. Let me change the color of this. Let's get to use what we have over here. No. Okay, so if you want to add a batch over there, we can actually do that as well too. So let's continue. Let's continue. Then what next do we have over here? We have our search icon. Okay, so let's also get to include that as well too. So what I'll be doing over here is I'll be bringing in my search icon. So I'll call for search, and I'm just going to insert that in here. I'm also going to scale this as well to 22 for the width and the height. And also, I want to add a few things here. So I'll come over here, and I'm going to be adding a text that says search for anything. Okay, with the 3 dots. So I have just this text here, and I would also be changing the size of this right here. Let me just have this here at 14. As for the line heights, I'm just going to just leave that 20, and a few more things that I will just do over here, which is the fill. So I'm just going to be setting this to this. Let's also get to change the color for this. Okay, I think this is set already. Okay, and with this done now, what I'll do next now is simply to select both of them, and I'll be applying auto layout to this. Shift A. As for the distance between this here, I'll be leaving this here at 16, and I'll be also be adding an auto layout. All right, so here I'll be giving this here. Let me get this here 16. That's both vertical and horizontal, but I'll come over here and change the horizontal here to, let's make that 8, and we have this now. The next thing I'll do here will be to give this here a stroke. Okay, so let me just have everything looking the same. Right, later I will come over to trying to make this look all perfect, and I'm simply just going to paste this over here. As for the corner radius, let me just give this here 16. So we have it looking this way. Oh, I think I want to make this have like more perfect cycle. Let me just give it the highest over here. Now, a few more things I'll do here is I'm going to set different spacing to this section here. All right, so at the left hand side, I'm just going to subtract about 4, and then I'm going to have 12 on the right hand side. So I have this, done this way. Okay, so what I'm looking to achieve here is I want a case. So if I should, let's say we have something like this here, and I click on this text and I make this a field container property. Definitely, I want to achieve something like this. So I was looking at, we doing some little animations, prototyping, such that when you click on this, it kind of like expands. But we can actually still have it this way for now, though. We can actually still have it this way for now. Okay, so we have this done. A few more things. I think I would love to include one last thing here, which is message. I think I would love to include that too. So let's just say I want to have a message option as well too here, and I'll just simply duplicate that and head over here, click on the bell, and I will swap that component for a chat. So let me click on search for chat. I don't think we have chat on ViewSax. What we have over there is message or SMS. So I can search for message. Cool. And we can see we have like a message box. Let me use this. Let me just use this. Cool. And we have this right here. Okay. So what else? What else? What else? Let me just select everything I have over here. I get to apply auto layout to them. The distance between them is currently set to 24. I want to just add like a divider in this case over here. Let me just set the width of this here to 32, and I have this here, and I would simply select all this, also apply auto layout between them. The distance I will set to 24 as well. As for this line, I want to get to use a very, very faint line in this case here for this. So I'm just going to pick something really, really faint. All right. And I think I might just want to adjust the height of this as well too. So I'll just set this here to 24. Okay, something in between this here. All right, so now that we have this, let me give this here alignment to the left. And if I turn on my layout grid, okay. Now, can you realize something here? I want to show you guys something here. I think this would be a nice time for me to also explain it in another concept. Now, on Figma, we have what we call constraints, right? You could actually, when we come over here and you see, oh, I align it to the left, you can actually constrain certain items to be in a particular position such that whenever there's like an increase, you don't have it moving the other way around. So you can see something like this right here. You see when I'm actually increasing this here, currently it's increasing the size of the input field or the search field, but every other object is also moving to the it's also moving to the towards the right hand side, even though I'm actually increasing it, from this angle here. Now, the reason for this here is because this right here has been constrained to be aligned. It has been constrained to the left hand side. Now, how do we fix this? Now, I'm going to take out a few things. One of them here is to click on this section here. Okay, and if you see here where we have our constraint, you can see clearly where we have position. You can see clearly that what is currently constrained to the left hand side. Hence the reason why when we are increasing, it's stick to the left. It's not an increasing towards the right hand side. So what I'll do here is what I'm going to constrain this here to the right. Okay, I'm going to constrain this here to the right. Now let's see how that solves our problem. Now if I come over here and then I increase this, can you see what's happening here now? It has been constrained to the right hand side, and that solves our problem. And I love that for that. Okay, so now that that is done, we can simply just continue from here. Okay, so I will come over here, click on my dashboard text, and also get to click on this as well, and I'll be applying auto layout to both of them. Okay, now having applied auto layout to both of them, I'll come over here and leave that okay at auto. Perfect. Then I would also come over here and simply just increase this here to hit the beginning of the colon, and we have this right here. Now, one last thing I will do here is um, I'm literally going to be adding some spacing as well, so some padding. I'm going to apply another auto layout in this case here. Okay, um, I'll be giving the right hand side. We have a margin on the right hand side of 40, and at the left hand side we have a margin of 24. And as for the top and the bottom, in this case here, I'll just be giving this here 16 by 16. So we have this here. Not to worry, I would have to adjust or increase the height of this. So let me put that over there, and also increase this to hit this frame here, and also align this all the way to the top. Okay, and yep, we have this done. We have this done. You know what? I think I might just increase this a little bit. 20, 20. All right. Okay, so now that we have that done, uh, cool. So you could always check out, what we're currently doing over here by presenting your design, and you can actually see what you've done so far. If I should reload this, yeah, you can see what we have here so far. Okay, so not to worries, everything is turning out well. So let's come over here, and then I'll give this here a fill of white. So I have this done. Now the next thing we're coming over here to do here is where we have welcome back, and then here is what is going on your store. So let's get to do that as well too. So I'll come over here and I'll be adding a text. And this here is going to be a welcome, right? So we have this here say um, welcome back. Let me also see use James. Or in this case here, we already have a name. So I'll say Stanley. And I'm applying auto layout to both of them. Okay, then the next we have over here is, or we're going to come over here to where we have all of these stats. Now, the next thing we have over here is we have this a button over here and a drop down or a date selector. Now, what we're going to do is we'll simply come over here and let's get to create that as well too. So come over here and I have a text. I'm going to show you how to create a button, the best way to create your buttons. So here I would say download report. Now I have my text in here. Now the best way to create a button is to apply auto layout to the text. And I know I'm going to bring in an icon, but that can come in later. So I've written out my text. Let me set the sizes. So here, let's say I'm using 16, line height of 24. I'll apply auto layout to this, Shift A, and I'm going to add my icon in here. I can select my text and then launch this and search for a download button. Okay, so this right here is searching. Okay, cool. Do we have anything on this here? Come on, we should. Oh no. We don't have like a very, very good download button option. I thought we could. Okay, so I think this right here has to do with internet. So what I'll do here is I can use a plugin called Iconify to get a download icon. I think I won't mind actually. But let me just do the search one more time. All right, so let me just use a plugin called Iconify in this case here. So I'll use Iconify and then, okay, so due to technical issues with the network, I'll just be using a placeholder icon for now. Okay, so all right, so this is just going to be a placeholder icon for now. All right, so now we have this here, and I would be making some adjustments. Give this here 16, and as for the height of this, let's just place this here at 8. Oh, now Iconify has loaded. Now let's search for download. Let's just continue what we were doing here so far. And as for the fill, I'll give this here a fill. Let me just give it this blue color that we have over here for the download button. And as for the text and the icon, I'll change that to white. Likewise over here as well to change that to white. I will also scale this icon a little bit to size of 20. And I'll give this here a corner radius of 8. I would increase this a little bit, 12. Okay, so we have this done. I'll just place this over here. Then the next thing we had here was the date selector. I'll be adding applying auto layout to this as well, and I'm bringing in a few icons. So I need to have a drop down icon here. So I'll simply just flip this. So I'll shift V to flip horizontally. I also want to bring in an icon here, which is going to be the calendar. Okay, so we have this over here, and let's just make adjustments. Spacing 16, 12, corner radius 8. Give this here a stroke. I'll simply select both of them and I'll apply auto layout to both of them. Great. Then I'll selecting both of these items here, simply aligning them to the bottom. Take this all the way to the top. The distance I have over there is 40. Okay, so now we have this done. Now we have this done. Now let's head over to designing the oversight or the stats that we have over there. Now we have something like this here. So what we'll do here is I just want to, get to see what we have here. Okay, so we have this, and let's get to continue with this here. So here, pull this over here, and let's say I have 856.95K. And this here, let me give this size 28. Or let's make this 32 for now. Um, let's just make this semi bold. The line height definitely set that to 40. So please try as much as possible to not have the line height, go below the size of the text. So if you have a text at size 32, I always use my 8-point spacing. So you can see me using the line height of 40. Now let's get to add what exactly this stat is all about. So here we're going to be looking at stats for total revenue, total customers. Uh, so these are like stats that users or the admin would like to see. It's like know how well the business is doing. So we can have like some of these stats here, stuff like total revenue. We could also have, total number of customers that must have come into the platform. I think it would be nice to also have like abandoned cart. I think that would be a nice one to have as well too. So you can know if how much carts people are leaving abandoned. So when people are trying to purchase a product, then they get to stop at the cart section. So I think that would be nice as well to have. And we could have maybe total sales. Yeah, I think that'd be nice. Those three items. So let's continue. So I'm going to be coming over here. Simply just duplicate this here, and I'll be calling this here total revenue. All right. Now I have our total revenue, and this I'll give size 18. Let's drag this down a little bit. Let me give that 14. Size of this. Let's leave this right here at 20. I'll change this over to regular, and definitely the color as well too. I'll update this over to this. All right, so we have total revenue. Also, we need to have like be able to tell. Okay, now we have this here, right here, 856. So is it in if how many days? Also, having like an incremental start, kind of like, oh, has it done 25%? Has it done 16%? Has it done 5%? So that we can actually be able to tell what's the increase, and how well it's performing. Because you could just have this number. User might not have an idea of what exactly was the number last week. So having like those information would be really, really important. So I think I'll come over here and I'm just going to add this right here. I'd say this here is doing currently plus 14. And I'll come over here and let's give this here 18. Also come over here to increase the color or to make adjustments to the color. So we have this right here. This is currently doing plus 14% at the moment, plus 14% at the moment. Also, one thing I would love us to add right here is I like us to also add like a graph or a chart. And I think we'll be using the line chart here. You know, so I'll just duplicate this and let me just say here in 7 days. So we have this right here, the stats of how well it's doing in the last 7 days. Great. Now let's get to also add the chart. Now what we'll do here is we're going to be adding a line chart. Now to do this, you could actually use plugins to achieve this. There are several plugins you can actually use to achieve this. But for fun's sake, I think we're just going to just create ours ourselves. Now, how do we go about creating our line chart? To do that, we're going to be making use of our pen tool. Now, where can you locate your pen tool? Simply coming over here and you're going to see your pen tool here. So this is it right here. You can simply just press P on your keyboard. Now that that's done, what I'll do next now is to map out the lines. Now, how this works is you click right at first, move the pen tool to the next section where you want it to be. You click, move it to the next section where you want it to be. You click. All right, just like that. Move to the next section where you want it to be. You click. Move to the next section where you want it to be. You click. Move to the next section where you want to be. You click, and you can have something like this, like this. Now, as soon as you've done this right here, if you want to still continue, you can, and if you want to stop, anyway you want to stop. So let's say I'm okay with this. What I'll do here is I'm going to press enter. Okay, I'm going to press enter. This right here is my line chart. Now, if I still want to try as much as possible to make this a curved line, I'll show you how to achieve that. So here I have my line chart. Okay, here I have my line chart. Now, if I want to have this to be curved, I want it to be a curved line. Now, what I'll do in this case here is very simple. Now, what I'll do here instead is I can actually duplicate this. Let me simply duplicate it. Should in case we decide to use a straight line. Now, to create a curved line, what you can do here is this. I'm going to come over here, click on this, and press enter. So I can be able to edit all the node points. The next thing I'll do here is you can see the section you have over here. This is your bend tool. Now I'll click on the bend tool and I'm going to curve all the points, all the node point I have over here. So you can see me here coming over here. I'll click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Okay, and you can stop when it's looking well curved in your site. Click and drag, click and drag. Come over here as well, click and drag. And you can just fast forward the video to after I'm done here. Great. Now we have done that. The next thing I will do here is I actually want these lines that I have over here. I want the lines that I have over here to have some kind of gradient. I want to have some kind of gradient where I have this background over here. I want to have some kind of gradient. And I can actually achieve that. I can show you how to go about that. If in a case where you want to leave it this way, this works perfectly fine as well. Now, let me show you how to go about creating that gradient that you're going to have right behind the line. Now, I will duplicate this background, that line. After I have done that, what I'll do here is I'm going to press enter to get to edit vector mode. And then I will come over here and select my pen tool. And what I'll do here is to try to complete or connect all of these lines. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to place my cursor exactly at this node point that I have here. And I'll click on that, holding my shift key because I want to have a straight line. I'll click on that and point that. You can see here, once my cursor or the pen tool gets to the same line as the last point there, you're going to see something like this here. What I'll do here is I'm going to click and then I'll point this as well to this section here as well and also click. Now, once I've done this right here, I have actually connected all of this line. Now, the next thing I'll do here is what? Is to press enter to exit this the edit vector mode. Then I would remove the stroke because I don't want the stroke anymore. And I'll give this here a fill. I can come over here and give this here a fill of same blue color that we have currently using in this case here. And what I'll do here is I want this to have like some kind of gradient. So I'll come over here and click on the gradient tool. Also, I'll make a little bit adjustment in this case here. So I might want us to use this. And I'm going to reduce the opacity in this case here to 20. Probably still take that down a little bit more. Let me just leave that at 10. And what I'll do next now is I would place this exactly next to this here. All right. So one quick way to do this here is highlight everything and align to the top and also align to the left. So you have everything looking balanced. Or you could actually take out your time to make the adjustment yourself if you want to bring this down a little bit. Okay, now we have this done. The next thing I'm going to do over here is I would like to, frame everything I have over here. So I can just simply select everything I have here. And then I can actually group all of these here using a group, or I could just use a frame in this case here. So I could just use group or frame. Now I would simply just use Ctrl G to just group this over here. Okay. Now that that's done, I can actually do away with this. Okay, now we have this over here. Great. Now let's go about spacing out these items, okay? Um, I have this. I think I'm just going to space everything off, everything I have over here by 12. All right, so I would select everything I have over here. I would simply apply auto layout, and let's just space this all here by 12. Okay, no, so the total revenue at 14, we don't need to have this on the same line. So I'll do over here is, nah, just, yeah, lay it out this way. I might want to have this as well too, this increment. I think those would be nice. So select both of them. I'll apply auto layout to both of them and change the direction of this here to horizontal. So I guess I have something like this here. The gap, I'm just going to reduce that to 4. And as for this text I have over here, okay, let me just leave it that way for now. Next here is the line or the space between or the gap. I will give that 12. And I will give this here in terms of padding. Let me give this here a padding of 20. And let me also give this here a fill of white. And I'll also give this here a corner radius of 16. Okay, now I think we're making wave. I'm going to turn on my layout grid to be able to see everything I have here. And here I have 12 columns, and I'm going to have 4 stats. So each of these stats is going to occupy 3 columns each. All right. This is just beauty of just having layout grid. It just helps you calculate all of the spacing much way much better. And I now that I have this over here, I would want to definitely increase this. So let me try to just scale this properly. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to duplicate this section now. I will simply duplicate this. And I'll duplicate this all. Oops. Okay, yeah. Now, I would recommend before duplicating, please always make it a component. Sometimes I get to forget these things, but it makes my life easier. It makes my life easier. Like it really makes my life easier. So let me just call this right here stats. And should in case I want to make any changes at the long run, it becomes very easy for me to make those changes. All right, it becomes very easy for me to make those changes. So now I'll just duplicate. Now let's get to make those changes here for several stats. Let's see this right here is total customers. And what was the last insight we said we wanted to track for? Maybe total sale. Let's just have total sale or total profit. Okay, so say we have this right here, and not looking bad. Not looking bad now. Not looking bad now. Um, we can still, try to make this look way much better than it's doing now. I believe we can do so actually. I believe we can do so. Now let's get to play around a few things. Let's just get to play around a few things and see how we can actually make this look way much better than it is right now. I was thinking of having to add icons. All right. So add icons to emphasize on this right here where you have plus 14. Is it an upward movement or is it a downward movement? But I was also thinking as well too that we could also use colors as well to highlight, that.
Um. Okay. Let's get to what I have in mind. So I will simply come over here. Now I'm heading over to the main component itself. If you notice, another instance, I'm heading over to the main component itself, and you know what? Now, a team we design here is at some point you're always going to want to try out several things, like have different variations of things to see which resonate best, which passes information the best way, which is going to give users that perfect experience that they are looking for. So most times you're going to try to create this variation of things, this, and trying to like test things out. So I'm just going to just try this here, so I don't get to lose the previous design that we have over here. And what I will do here simply is I would come over here to this and make some few changes. Actually, now I'm going to apply auto layout shift A. And I would also want to reduce the size of this a little bit. So let me make this here 14. Okay. And as for the line height as well too, I would make that 14 too. Okay. And I would also click on this here. Then regarding the auto layout that I have over here, that I have on the 14 itself. Now, what I will do here is I am going to make a few adjustments. Okay, so this right here, please, I would set this here to, okay, let me leave it as fixed. Yeah, let me leave it as fixed. Now, what I'll do next here is a little spacing actually, a little spacing actually. Now, I'll come over here and let me space this right here by 3, all right? And vertically, let's just have 4, all right? And let me come over here and set this right here to all content. Okay. Now that that's done, I would want to give this here a fill. So let me give this here a fill. And if this is actually doing well, which is you're having like an upward movement, I'm going to use green to highlight that. And I'll be changing the color of this over here to white. So, color contrast. So that's contrast properly. And I will just add a slight corner radius. I can just give that a slight corner radius of 4 in this case. So I have something like this. And then I think I will leave the last 7 days the way this is. Ideally, I was thinking of reducing this a little bit down to 12. So I'll just reduce that to 12. And we have this right here. So you can actually see the difference between these two variations. Also, we could even look into having the colors as well to change. But I'm just still thinking about this right here. If I would like to, use the green color to just highlight each of this section that we have over here. Just a thought that I have in mind. But yeah, there's nothing wrong, no bad, no harm in trying to see how that is going to turn out to be. And we have something like this. I think this looks good. So just by looking at this right here, even though we've laid emphasis to the amounts, they can actually see the total revenue. But just by looking at this right here, the color highlights, oh, we're currently doing plus 40% in the last 7 days. I think this looks good. But also, still would love to try out a few more things. But because of the cost of this video, I think I'm just going to just stop over here. Yeah, I think I'll just stop over here because right now my head is just thinking of several variations, and I really don't want to have this video to look way, way, way longer than it's supposed to be. Mm, what do you guys think? Maybe you can actually leave that in the comment section. You can just let me know. So I think I'll just go with this, the second variation. So let me click on my stats. Let me just change this here property. Let me just call that style. And this right here, I'd say. Now I can actually come over here to where I have all of these stats. I simply highlight all of them. And I would come down here and change this here to the variance 2. And let's see how that looks like now. Let's see how that looks. Okay. I think I'd still like to have the blue back. Yeah. I think I still would love to have the blue back. I still would love to have the blue back. So let me just make that change. I still love to have the blue back. Oops, what happened? Okay, I think I know what happened. I was supposed to just change this alone. Now, in this case here, select just the group line itself and change that to, okay. All right. Now, having done this, we can go about, heading over to the next section. I'd love to just go straight to that. Now, I can select everything I have over here, and I'm going to apply auto layout Shift A. And as for the distance from this to this right here, I'll leave that at 40 for now. Now, the next section, what do we have next? The next section here, we have the sales report. And the sales report here has, aside from the report section and the pricings, it also has like a bar chart as well. So we're going to look into creating this as well. Now, let's head back over here. And I will be creating a text here that says sales report. And we have the amount over here. I literally just pick this. I literally just pick this. And I would love to have like the actual amount actually visible as well. Okay, so we have an increment, brought in my arrow icon, You know what? We aren't even adding the currency. I think it'd be nice for us to even have the currency increase as well too. I think that would be nice. And I would also come over here and scale this 16. Select both of them, apply auto layout to both. I would use the spacing between them. So I'm actually setting the spacing over there to be 2. And I would also change the color as well too here. I think I'm just going to reduce that as well too. I'll just make that 0. I'll select both of them together. I'll just apply auto layout as well. I will literally want to have them on the same baseline. So I'll just leave it here for now. All right, so I'll select both of them. Shift A. And we have this section here. Now let's look at how we can actually go about creating our bar chart. We're going to be using a plugin in this case though. We will be using a plugin in this case here. I think I would want to leave this back. Let's leave it like this. So we have that increment. Let's leave it like this. Great. Now let's create our bar chart. I'll be using a plugin called Charts. We have a plugin called Charts, and with Charts, we can use it to create a bar chart. And let me come over here and click on Create Chart. Now, this is actually a free plugin. We have the line charts, you have the scatter charts, you have the area, pie, and the bar chart. In this case, you are going to be using the bar chart. Now, I want the bar chart to show record from the month of January all the way down to the month of December. And I want it to display two main information: gross profit and gross loss. So the user can, the admin can be able to see profit and loss margins in each month. And for us to achieve that, if you look over here to where we have the bar chart configuration, we have number of series. And if I get to make this 3, it's going to be showing 3 series within a particular month. In this case here, I just want it to be 2 because I just want to show gross profit and gross loss in each of the months. Then you have the number of data points. Now, data point is how many points you want to have right here. And since we're going to be looking at creating data from the month of January all the way down to the month of December, and we have 12 months. In this case here, I'm going to be making the data point to be 12. Then here we have the data range starts. And this is if you want to have where we have our pricings. Here we're definitely going to have amounts. And here we're going to say if we want this to show values from the month, or let's say from amounts ranging from let's say 500 to maybe a thousand. And I can come over here and set the start range here to be 1,000. Okay, and likewise, you can also do that as well too. Here, you can set this here to 10,000. So you could configure this how you best want it to be. And you can see here, the list here is starting from 1,000. The list range here is starting from 1,000. And we could actually go with this right here. Now with this done, I'll come over here and click on Add Chart. Now, when you do that, you are going to be saying something like this here. It's going to create outside of the frame. And we have this right here. Okay. I can simply drag that inside my frame and make adjustments in areas where I want to adjust or where I would like to adjust. And I have this here. I'll simply just create a duplicate outside for safekeeping. Now, there's something I was supposed to do here. I would have loved to hide the grid, but that's fine. We could always change that ourselves. Now, with that done, let's come over here. I'll try to locate the grid. Yep, that was the grid. So I'll simply rename this to grid and I'll just hide this. Okay. The next thing I'll do here is to get to change all of these points here to actual months, days of the month. So here I'll come over here and I'll update this to Jan. I would also love to change the typeface. We're currently using Public Sans and I would like that to be the same. Same goes for this section as well. And here we have our graph. You could also make changes to the colors as well. Now, to do that, select the graph or the chart and head over to your selection colors, and we could make changes over at this point here to what we want it to be. All right, so let's say I'm working with what I have over here. I could also make changes to this as well. Okay, the changes can be made all to this as well. And you could adjust the height the way you please. That's just a beautiful thing over here. You could adjust the height of this the way you feel. And say I'm good with this. I'm okay. I think I'm okay with what I have over here. Now, the next thing that we will do here at this point is going to be to have a container for all of those items that I have right here. Now, I'm going to turn on my layout grid and I would select both of these items. One, two. I'll apply auto layout to both of them. Shift A. For the gap, I would set the gap between them to be 40. And then I'd also select this as well and apply auto layout to both of them. Let me just space this right here by 24 for now. Then I'll give this here a gap of a padding of 20, both horizontal and vertical. Also give them a fill of white, giving this here also a corner radius of 16. And I'm going to try as much as possible to align this all the way up here. And we would also have this, what I have right here. I would also have this occupy 8 columns. So I would stretch this until I have to say occupy 8 columns. And there we go, guys. There we go, guys, for this particular section I have right here. The next thing I will do next would be to design the other section here, where we have, okay, I think let's get designed for the recent orders, and then we can have this other section come in. Then the next one we can actually design here is where we have our recent orders. And this is going to be quite similar to what we have over here. Now, what we're going to do here is, first of all, I think we should get started by creating our table. Now, let's get started, guys. So here we have the recent order, and I'll come over here and set that to recent order. And just duplicate that right below here. And I'll call this recent order. Okay, now this table that we have over here has ID, customer name, amount, date, status, as well as action. Now we're going to create all of that. Great. Now we have this done. I would also bring in a text where we have the sort by. So let me have this written here. Sort by. Search for a filter icon. Lord knows I don't like this filter icon. um, yep, so it's seen. Okay, it went over there. Please come back here. And we have this two. I'll select both of them. Okay, first of all, let me make adjustments to that text. Okay, select both of them. Apply auto layout to both of them. Left center aligned. The spacing between them. Let me just leave there at 8. And I think I'm good over here. I'll just make adjustment to the color. That's it. Now we have that done. Now the next thing here is to create the table. Now, one thing I want you to know is you could actually use a plugin to create tables. There are several plugins you could use in creating table. But in this case here, I would think we could actually just create ours from scratch. We could actually just create ours from scratch. Now, what I will do over here now is this. I'm going to be creating a text, and inside this text here, I'll have this here say ID. Okay, so we have this right here. Uh, I'll apply auto layout to this table head I have over here. I would give this here a spacing, horizontal spacing of 16. And as for the vertical spacing, I will leave that at 8 for the vertical spacing. I would also create another as well in this case. I'll simply just call this table cell. And for the cell, this here I would give size of regular, and I should also update the color as well. By the way, I should have saved my color styles, but because of I'm just designing all of this right here in a rush, so we're just going to just have it this way for now. Pardon me. Okay, so we have this over here. Okay, okay. So I think I'm okay with what I have over here, but I also would want to kind of like truncate this. So it just sticks to just one line. So truncate this text here, just one line, and anything it just gets to abbreviate it. Here, I would give this here a fill, and I would just change this slightly to just a little bit. Let me just change it to this for now. Happily just give it a tiny bottom stroke. Okay, let's just see how this goes, and I'll select both of them, and So how many headings, table head do we have there? We have one, two, three, four, five, six. Six of them. That simply just duplicates. Let's apply it layout to all of them. Shift A. And I'll simply just change this as well too. So here I have this here, say ID. Set this here to field container property. Also set the this right here to hot content. Okay. Oh, I thought I made that a component. Oh no. What I had over here wasn't even a component. Can you believe that? I thought I brought in the main component in here. Please, let's call this table. Ho. Sorry guys, I was the one that made a mistake. I was the one that made a mistake. Apologies on my end. So I wasn't supposed to select these two items and make them a component. That was a mistake on my end. So what I'll do here is to simply remove. Um, I'll simply just delete that component. So I'll just take that out of this component section here. Delete this, please. So let me just call this table head or head. Okay. And this here would be create a component set instead, please. Creating a component set. All right. Okay, so we have this over here, and we can continue. So duplicate. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, yeah, four. So we have this done. Now the next thing I'll do over here would be to select everything I have here and apply auto layout to all of them. Also, the distance between them is set to 0, which is means no spacing. Now let's head over here and start adjusting this. So here we have ID. Okay, text here, please. Okay, here we have customer name. Here we had amount. What else do we had again here? We had dates. What else again did we have? We had status. What was the last one? I don't think we might need to have that action part though. I really don't think we might need to have that action part. So for this here, I think I'm just going to just leave it the way it is. All right, just leave that space the way it is. So we have that empty. Now that we have this done, I would simply click on this. I'm just duplicating this, okay? Just duplicating this. And I would be removing the auto layout, Control Shift G, totally removing the auto layout that I have over there, okay? And I'm going to fill this up a little bit. So first of all, I would select everything I have over here, and I'll be changing that from heading to normal table cell. Okay. Okay. And the next thing I'll do here is I'm also going to ungroup this as well too. All right, Control Shift G. I'll ungroup that as well too. Okay. So what I'll do here is Control Shift G. Okay, remove that as well. So here we have the table. You can have ID, customer name, amount, date, status. Now, in terms of status, I want this here. This is going to okay. We can leave it. We can just do what we have right here for status. Then later on we can make that appear better. Then for our table cell, I actually want to have an icon in here. This here, it's going to be an icon. I want that to be an icon. So what I'll do here is I'll click on this right here. I'll just click on add a new variant. Okay, and so here I'm going to have an icon inside. Okay, so let me just use this one. Okay, let's just stick to this, and I'll simply just delete this over here. Okay, hot content, please. Hot content, please. Okay, now I don't want this to look conflicting, so I'm just going to make a few changes here. So this right here is a table. Here you have so let me call this here cell type. Or I could just have this right here, just call this here action. All right. Just call this action. Yeah, this is called action. Okay, so now that I have that done, let me put that on the side over here. So the next thing I'll do over here now would be here. I would simply select each of the section here. So you can see here where I have this. Is either this here or I get to give them all. Okay. So we can actually do, we have two approaches here. One is we could actually define and give each of this section here a fixed width. And what do I mean by giving them a fixed width? So I have my ID section there, it has a unique width. I have this section here, it has a unique width, a unique width, a unique width for each of them. And then that way I can be able to select all the items here and duplicate those cells. I think that would be a much better approach. So let's go about giving them a unique width in this case here. So still even what I have over here, I would do a few things, right? Now, one is I want to set some space in here. So I have that 20, okay. From here as well to, yeah, I want to have 20. So I'm just trying to just measure the spacing, okay. So the next thing I'll do over here would be this. So I selected all three of them and I'm going to be applying auto layout shift A, okay, shift A. And I would simply just increase, no, not, yeah, simply just increase the width until you hit this section here. Okay. And I'll do the same thing as well too for this section here. Now I'll select everything I have over here, apply auto layout as well, shift A. And we're also going to adjust this as well until it hits this section here. Great. Now let's give this here the width. Now I'll just take some measurements in my own case here and see which of this content cells here is going to contain much information. Closely, we can tell that a section that's going to contain most information would probably be the customer name. Yeah, I think customer name is going to hold a whole lot more information, followed by, oops, I think looking at this now, I think there's something missing here. Yeah. um, I was thinking of, having to add the product. Yeah, I think that would really be a good one. Also having to add the the product name as well to would also, be a good thing to have. So I think most likely I would have to change this customer name to the product name. The reason for this here is, looking at the information, I'm looking at what is like really most important in this case here. um you are showing someone your recent order, quite true. If you're looking at a glimpse, something to have like a glimpse of the recent orders, you most likely will be looking at, the product, what products is going to be, as people just placed an order for, compared to the name. Looking from the administrative points, they'll be more concerned about the product, and not really the customer's name. So in this case here, I think first of all, let's just get to change this right here from customer name to product. Okay, let's just change that from customer name to product. Now back to what I was explaining here, which is having to define the width for each of these sections, because all of them are going to contain different informations, and this information in terms of the sizes, it tallies. Because take for example the date. Using, if we're going to be using the MMDDYY, format, which is the months in digits, the date, and the year. It's not going to contain a whole lot of information compared to the product name. So let's just get started first. Now I would start with this section here where we have the ID. So let me just, I just get to just try things out. I would say, let's say my ID contains about six characters. And looking closely at this right here, I'm seeing a width of about 91. So you know what? I think I'm just going to come over here and let me just, okay, I can leave it the way it is. I can leave it the way it is. So I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to set this right here to, let's say 95. Okay, let's say 95. And I'll do the same thing as well too for the table heading here for ID. And I also do the same thing here and call that what 95. So now I have defined a fixed width to this content section here. Now let's go further forward. For the product name, for now, what I will do here is I'll just give this here a field container for now. All right, I'll give this a field container for now, and same here too for the self the self field itself here. I'll give that a field container option also. Now, the next thing I'll do over here is where I have, oops, yeah, this last section here, which is going to be the action. I'll come over here, click on that table cell, and switch this from body content to the action icon, which is this over here. And this here has a width of 56. Let's just leave that at 56 as well. And I'll also come over here and set that section as well to be 56, and I'm making this look all good. And in terms of status, here we're going to be having status like delivered, returned, or stuff like that. So let's say here I have this here say delivered. And then maybe I have something like this here, or on transit, which is longer. On transit. Okay, so let's just say we have informations like this, and I would most likely let me just give this here 110. Okay, let me just give that 110, and I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing for status as well too. Let me give that 110. You know what? I'll get that 120. Same thing for this here. I'll get that 120. Okay, 120, and we have this right here. Then as for the dates, it depends on what format you're looking at using. It's totally up to you. Some I prefer to have something like this here, December, 2025 or 2024, or you might want to have something like maybe um 2030, let's say 2109. You might want to have something like this right here, but I think I'd just like to have the months instead. So I might want to be looking at something like this here, you know um and let's say we have something like this. So let me check out what exactly is the width for this section here, and this is currently saying 114. I will just increase this a little bit, so just in case this is way bigger than expected. So I will just give this here. Let me give this here 132. Okay, let me just give that 132, and come over here to the heading section and also give that 132. Then here we have the amount, and this here could actually vary. So I think the size of this here is actually not so bad. So let me just give this here. Let me just give you 100. Okay, let me just give that 100, and come over here and give this also here 100. Okay. Okay. Now, as for the price, which what we have over here, I think this here you just set to field container. I'll leave it the way it is. I think I'll leave it the way it is. The width here is also same thing here, which is 193, and we are currently in looking good at this point here. Now, the next thing I will do here is I would definitely want to increase the height of this table section here, which is what I've done now. And I would come over here and duplicate this because I want to have more orders, show it. And at this point here, I'd say maybe I want to show the recent 10 orders. Okay, the recent 10 orders. Now I'll just get to duplicate. Now, if you're asking why is when I duplicate, why it's following this order and everything is looking neatly arranged and aligned, and the reason for that is let me just explain this here. The reason for that is whenever you duplicate, right? Either you use Control D or you use your Alt key and drag. I'm a fan of using Alt. Okay, and you use the Alt and drag. You have something like this here now, and I have, let's say I have a spacing of 8 in this case. At this point now, the moment I press Ctrl D, it takes note of the previous duplicates that I made. Okay, and it maintains that same spacing all around. So if I come over here and I press Ctrl D, Ctrl D, Ctrl D, you can see it's all looking, properly aligned. All right. Now that we have this done, the next thing I will do over here is I will simply select all. Okay, select not the table heading, just the body content itself. And I'm going to place this here in an auto layout. Okay, now this is just in case maybe probably later on I want to make certain modifications, adjusting the spacing between each of the field rows. I can easily do that. Now I'll come over here and I'll apply auto layout by pressing Shift A, and that now has been done. Okay, now you might say, oh, I what if I want to, now I have all of this information here and I want to update the content. Yeah, I want to update the content for each of these cells. Now, you don't have to go about doing this manually because that's really stressful. Now, what we can do here is we can use a plugin called Content Reel. I love Content Reel so much. And with the modification, or not modification, sorry, with the implementation of Figma AI, right, having the Figma AI feature, it just makes it most beautiful for me. So in this case here, I could just, maybe I should just show you that here. So if you don't have the Figma AI feature, I'm sorry, but I recommend you just create 10 duplicate and use Content Reel to do that. Okay. But since I have the Figma AI, all right, the Figma AI feature, I think it would be interesting to show you what that can do actually. So what I'll do here now is I want to update all of this content with actual real information instead of you having just table cell, or if someone having to type all of these things all by yourself. I'm going to be showing you how to go about updating this content with real information, making it look so real. Now, what I'll do here is I'm going to be using a plugin called Content Reel. And how do I get that? You can simply press Ctrl P on your keyboard, head over to plugins and widgets, and search for Content Reel. Yeah, this is the name here. This is actual spelling, Content Reel. And you see something like this here. Now, we're going to click on Content Reel. And Content Reel provides content from images to text. What other information they provide again? Yeah, icons as well too. Yeah, so they provide these three informations, and it's actually free. You don't have to be signed in. It's actually free. Now, how do you get to use your content reel? Okay, now this is the interesting part. Now, what you're going to do here is what is to select all of the now is I want to update the text, right? I'm going to select all of the IDs. So we're going to do it one at a time. You don't just select all the text and content reel is going to do that for you. No, you're going to use select all the texts that are related, right? Related information you want to update at once. And in this case here, I want to update my ID. Okay, so I'll come over here and I'll select this. Now, if you ask it, how am I selecting this, the ID itself without having to, hold my shift key and keep clicking? How I'm doing that is by holding my control key, right? My control key, which help me to what to select an item, whether even if it's nested inside a frame or an auto layout, I can select the item as long as my cursor is currently on that item. Now, in this case here, what I want to do is to select the text. So I'm going to hold Control and my Shift key. The reason for holding the Shift key, I believe you all know, is because what we're looking at selecting multiple items. Now I hold my Control Shift and I select all of this right here. Now that I've done that, I'm going to come over here on Content Reel. I'll just streamline over to the text section. Okay, so click on the text tab section, and you're going to see everything that has to do with text here. But you might most likely not just see ID hanging around. So what you do here is just to make it easy, just search for what ID. Okay, just search for ID, and you can you say you want to search for product ID. That works perfectly fine as well too. Okay, so let me just search for ID and let me just see information that we have. So you can see here under ID, you're seeing so many stuff here. This here incident, but if you keep scrolling, you're going to see a few things here. So you can see here we have ID, and this ID here has about um five digits. But that also including the ID text, but I don't want that. I want something else. I want something else. So I will just keep scrolling until I find a perfect match. At this point now, I'm considering typing product ID, but let me just scroll down a little bit and see if I can get something um, that I like and I can use. So you know what? I think I'm just going to just type product ID. Okay, let's do that. Okay, interesting. So we have a few things here. I'm seeing this. I'm also seeing this P02. Um, oops. We can just stick to one. Maybe just let me just stick to this one here. Okay. Let me just stick. Oh, let's look at this. Let me just use this here. But I really would have loved to see something that has the hash. The hash. I know definitely there is something here, but just difficult to find. Uh, Let me see if there is anything here. ID with no, no. This right here is going to be, it contains ID plus ID. I don't want that. It's too long. It's too long for the space that I've designated for. All right, so let's just go with what we have. Okay, let's just go what we have over. I think that is really not bad at all. This option here is not so bad. Okay, now that we've done that, the next part we have here is the product name. So you know what? I'll do the same thing that we did over here. Select all the product name, and let's just search for product name. Oh, you know what? Let's search for product and see if you can actually get to see something nice. Cool, and we have product name here that we can actually use. Um, I think I saw something here. Oh, this is looking so long. This is looking really, really long. Also, I'm also saying something here that I feel we should actually correct as well. Now, if you look closely, you can see all of our text right here is just exceeding it's currently exceeding, its assigned widths, and we're going to look at correcting this. As a matter of fact, I think I will stick to what I have here, so I can use this to just show a correction on how to fix situations like this. Now, what I will do here is, okay, yeah, so I'll leave that the way it is. Now, the next thing we'll do here now is we are going to select the amount. Okay, so I'll come over here and click on all of the cell to select the amount, and I'll simply just come over here and just say amount, or you could actually search for price. You know, now I actually want something in dollars though. I don't want so much huge figures. I don't want so much huge figures. Oh, you even have the naira sign here. Okay, so we have something simple here. I think. Oh, we haven't have something way much simpler. So you can actually choose which of this here. So if you click on this right here, you have smaller values. And this right here looks much bigger. So I think we can actually go with either of this. All right, we can go with either of this here. Let me just stick to this one here. All right. So now that we have done that, the next thing I will do here now is the date. Okay. So I'll come over here and I'm just going to pick the date. And we'll search for what? For date. And the reason here is because, still a text. So we'll just click on the text section here, which is where it is, and search for date. And here we can find for something that we like. Now, in this case, I told I want to use the format of the date. The month should be streamlined, right? So if you have January J and then the year. So I'll find for something that has a very, very similar format. And if you look closely at this right here, this is looking quite similar, but it also includes the time. And I don't want to include that. So I'm going to check for if I can see something that has just date without the time included. And just scrolling down a few lines, and I was able to see something here, which I will go with. So I'll come over here and click on this, and I have this over here. Then, in terms of the status section here, I think I will just update this myself. Okay. So here I have on transit. Here I would see delivered. Here I would see cancelled or returned. Okay, so I have this right here. Now let's come over here to fixing this issue. All right. Now you can see here, this text, or all of this, mostly all those longer text here, are exceeding the assigned contents and widths that I set for them. And we're going to look at how we can correct this. Okay. Now, what's the best way for us to correct this? Because of we made this here components, we don't have to go into each of these sections and correct them one at a time. So what I'll do is I'll go or head over to the main component itself. And how do we do that? Come over here to where you have table and click on this right here, which says what? Go to the main component. And the moment you click on that, it takes you over to this section here. Now, this is where the whole stuff is going to be corrected. Let me just zoom out so we can see how that is, how this is currently looking. So let me just collapse this here so we have enough space. Okay. Now, what I'll do here now is I will simply click on my text. I don't know if you can see my background, but let me just collapse this here and make this visible so you all can see the background. So I'll just change the color of this right here to something like that now. Okay, cool. Now I'll come over here and click on the table cell. Okay, so I have the table cell selected. Now, what we'll do here is because of this item here is in an auto layout, what I'll do a few things. One here is I will set this here to what? To fill the content. Okay. So to fill the container, all right, to fill the auto layout container. Now, what this does is it set the width to fill up the assigned space of that particular auto layout container itself. Now, the moment I do this right here, you can see it's going to what? It's going to is going to be hidden. Now the reason for this here is because I already set this right here to truncate the text. Now if you didn't recall, I'll show you how we went about truncating this text here. Now how we did that was we came over here, we clicked on the type settings, and then we came over here to truncate text. So you can see here, if I should remove this right here, you can see all of the text gets broken into two lines. We'll come over here and click on what? Truncate text. And you can set the maximum line. And in this case here, just a single line. I don't want any product name to exceed a single line. And we have this right here. Okay, so this is how we go about doing this here. Now, I said previously that I wanted to have 10, right? I wanted to have 10 recent orders. Now, currently we have 5. Now, this is the part where if you have Figma AI enabled on Figma, now you actually see this here. You can see this while trying to increase here. You can see this right here. Duplicate with new contents, and which is very, very lovely. I'll just come over here and drag this down. And what you get to see is Figma AI is going to automatically update all of the content with actual like real content. And you can see what it has done for us over here. Very, very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Now that this is done, let's go about creating a container for this entire section. Okay. So I think I have 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And that is all complete now. So the next thing I'll do here is I'll select this other section here, and I'll also apply auto layout to that. And having done that, the spacing, this is a tricky part here. The spacing, I'll just set this here to 0, and let's see how that goes. Okay, I think I might just increase a little bit. Let me just make that 8. Okay, let me just make that 8 for now. All right, I might change my mind later on. So we have this done. The next thing I'll do here is simply select this 2 section here, and I'll apply auto layout to make have those 2 splitted there. Then I would select these 2 now, 1, 2, and I also apply auto layout to both of them. And as for the spacing between them here, I will currently set this right here to 16. Now that that has been done, let me bring back the sidebar so you can actually see what's going on here. Now that that is done, I will rename this right here. Okay, oops, first thing here where I duplicated this right here. Sometimes I love renaming this, but it's not a problem. So I'll call this right here other container. Okay, so let's just continue. All right. So I'll come over here, click on this. I'll rename this here. I'll call this here container. All right. And I'm going to apply another auto layer to this. So I'll press Shift A. And after you have done that, I'm going to be giving this spacing. Now, if you recall, we've actually been using an all-around spacing of 20. So I want to be consistent with that as well. So I'll come over here and give this here spacing of 20. And also give this here a feel of white. Okay. Now that's done, let's not forget the corner radius of 16. So come over here and give this here a corner radius of 16. Then I will increase the width. Let me turn on my layout grid. I will increase the width to fill up the section that we have over here and also fill up the section we have over here. And this now is looking good. And let me hide my layout grid. To hide your layout grid, you can simply press Shift G to hide your layout grid. Okay, so now that we have done this now that we have done this, let's see how this is currently looking. So I'll come over here and click on the present button. So let's see how that looks like now. And if you should scroll, you can see this is exactly how this is looking. Now, one thing we need to point out here is how can we make it easy for users to be able to find, so take for example, if I'm currently looking at the K102 section, I want to be able to, easily just stream like proofread from left to right. And also, how can we help guide the user's eye or the administrative eye so they don't get to, let's say looking at something right here and they mistakenly pick something like this here. Now, one thing you can do here is you can actually introduce dividers, and which is having a line, splitting each of these rows, having a separator splitting each of these rows. That is one way to go about this. Another way you can actually go about this is to we could actually have alternating colors, right? We can have alternating colors where we can actually change the color of each of the odd rows. So I'm going to explain what we can do here. Now I will head over to design. And what I will do here is let me show you how to do the first part, okay, which is where you have the line. So what we can do here is this. Very, very simple. I'll click on L. Okay, that's a shortcut to create a line. I'll click on L, hold my shift key, click and drag. I'll simply just copy this, or I could just drag this over. I can just drag it over to this section here. Okay. And having done this here, what I will do next now is I want this to fill up the entire space I have here. So if you guys know the drill, we come to our width and give this here a fill container property. We could also style the color of this as well. So let me just pick a slightly different shade of gray. And we have this here. I think that'll be like very, very, very dark. I want something not too bright. Okay, so let's say I have this here. Okay, now what I can do here is having to duplicate this. So for each section, so I can just do Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D, Control D. Let me zoom in so you can see what's happening here. Control D, Control D, Control D. Okay, so we have this done. Now we have this, demarcator. It becomes much more easier for the user, to easily read from left to right. Read each of the rows from left to right. So this is looking good now. But I actually see something slight different. I can see here it's looking more of like the amount is not, it's actually not aligned properly with this what I have over here, and I just noticed that now. I'm sorry, but this slight things it bothers me sometimes. Where when I get to see something like this here, well, that's because there's a space. Aha. So that there is from the content itself. There's like a space, and it's made the amount or the price not look aligned to what I have over there. And I think this issue here is actually coming from the particular data that we got from content trail. So I'm sorry, I mostly like an alignment freak. So I've, kind of like corrected that. So this is one way to go about this, guiding the eyes of your admins to be able to read through this list. And I always encourage doing something like this here, especially when you have a very, very, very long role. I always recommend having this here. Don't just have the list and you don't have any way to differentiate them. Now, this was one of the options. The second option that I provided, I think for that, I'll just duplicate this right here to show you the second option I was talking about. And I'll simply zoom in here. And I also want to remove every line here. But I know if I click on this, it's also, I hope it's not going to, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. None. Okay, so you most likely would have to come over here and select this. If they all had the same name, it would have been very easy for me to click on select matching items, and it's help me pick all the lines. This is where all right, so you have this now. Now the other option we had here was selecting all the alternating rows and changing the colors. Okay, changing the colors. So I'll come over here and I'll just pick each of these rows. Okay, so I have this. Okay, and then I will just change the fill color in this case here. Come over here and give this right here a slightly gray shade. Now this could actually tally depending on what you want. Okay, so I can actually get to give this a different color. And maybe I probably want to just reduce the spacing a little bit. All right. Oops. Control Z, please. So I wanted to reduce here was a gap. All right. And you have something like this. You have something like this. Okay. So you could actually choose either of these options, going with this right here, or having, using a line or separators, to divide each of the sections. So that's the two options. So you can actually pick, one and go with that. Now that this is done here, the next thing that we're going to be doing now is working on the other section that we had over here. Let's check out the section we're going to have over here. Great. Now we have top country by sales, and this information here will be showing where most sales, what country most sales are coming from. And then we have trending products. So let's look at recreating this. We'll come right over here, and I will be adding, I'm just going to duplicate this, and I will just have that right over here. Remember, I always love to turn on my layout grid. And here I have top countries by sales. What else do we have? Okay. We have a map. This has like some kind of like map view. And I'm going to get a map. So I'll show you where you can actually go about downloading any map for any country or anywhere in the world. If you want to get the world map, you want to get the country map, I'll show you where you can actually get all maps. And the maps are actually in SVG, which is way, way much better. So to do that, I will be switching over to my browser, and I'll be searching for a plugin called Maps, mapsvg.com. Great. So this right here is a plugin. Not plugin, the website. I'll come over here to where we have maps. And I want to get, if you're looking to get the world map, you have this right here, the world map. And this shows all the entire continent. If you want to just get Africa, you can get that here. If it's a US map, you can get that here. And, maps of everywhere, any other place you want. In this case here, I just want to just get the US map. Okay. So I'll come over here and I'll click on US. And I'll just come over here and click on this download map of US. Allow. Give that a minute to download. Done. Head over back to Figma, and I'm going to simply call in, bring my image in here. Okay, and I believe we all know how to do that. How do you bring in your image directly inside your design? Very simple. You can do that in two ways. I prefer to use the shortcut, which is Ctrl Shift K. But how you can do that is where you head over to where you have your shapes and click on this right here, image and videos. And if I click on this, downloads, and I have SVG, that's our map. And I'll just place that outside for now so I can resize that and bring that inside the design. Um, Here, I could also change the colors. I mean, this is really looking, this is really looking, okay. So we have this, we can actually change the color of this map. I wish you had something that had a little bit of, lines of some sort. I even think this right here is a world map, but it's just highlighted to show. So if I come over here and then I'll check this. Oh, okay. Seems like there's something over here. All right. So say we have this here. I'm looking at doing something here. What if I get to add a stroke? I missed everything here, and I give this here a stroke of white. Okay, great. So I want to have this, this whole space, right? And I think instead of giving this a stroke of white, what I will do instead is make that transparent. I think that would be way much better. So let me give this here opacity 0. Probably let's say 10%. Okay, cool. And let's look at the space. I think here we should be looking at the space around 600. So I would resize this, press key on my keyboard, and okay, let me resize the width to somewhere around 350 thereabouts. And I will drag that directly in here. Not bad. I'll still scale this a little bit. Let me just leave this here at 300 for now. We have this here. Let's refer back to wireframe, and we have a few things here. So we have like a total sale. Also, we have, I think here we have the flag. We have a country flag, what country that is. And also we have how well they're doing the sale. If they are going up or they are coming, it's like it's an upward movement, increment in sales or a reduction in sales. So we have that part as well. Not to worry, we're going to, create a container for that section. But for now, let's just continue what we have. At some point, I think I would have to come over here and make some updates to the sizes of this. But for now, let's just continue with this for now. Okay, we have this. We have our map. Yeah, I'm going to add a tiny little insights right next to this. No, let's have something like this. Okay, let me just place this over here. I'll select both of them and I would simply just apply auto layout to both. I would set the spacing here amongst them to be auto. Let me have that at the bottom. Now, there are some cases where I want this here to appear like both of them are on the same baseline. So what I will do here is Instead of me coming over here to start, editing the line height, what I'll do here is I'll head over to type settings and then I'll come over here and trim this right here. Okay. So you can see just by doing this, you get to have something like this. I think I'll do that for this as well. And, we have this, appear like they're on the same baseline. All right. So now that I have this part done, let me just, adjust this. Okay. I think I'll just adjust that. Yeah. Just adjust it. You have this as well too. Yeah. Okay. Here we have the map. I'll use my scale tool. Okay. I think I would like to do one thing here as well. I want to trim out this excess space that we have here. So I'll hold my command key. But before I do that, I will have to reset back to my select tool and not the scale tool. Hold my command key and kind of like crop out, that excess space that I have over here. And yeah, that helps me crop out that excess space I have over here. Oh yeah. Now let's scale back and scale back here. Voila. Okay, so we have this done. Let me see how this looks like and just hope that the map is not looking ridiculously large. So let's see how that looks like. Okay, not looking bad, not looking too bad actually, not looking too bad actually. You might ask why this is not allowing us to scroll, why is just just doing this, and that's because of the way this is here. I think I kind of like zoomed in, yeah, so that's why. Okay, so yeah, it's not looking too bad. It's not looking bad either ways. Let's just continue. Let's continue and try to make this look better. Okay, so I'll head over back to my design, and I want to have like a line demarcating this section here. So I will do that. Okay, and I will just apply auto layout to the line and what I have over there, and also I'll just increase the height of this here. Okay, and as for the line that I have here, I would like to, kind of change the color of that. So I'll head over to my stroke and just change the color to a light gray color. Okay, and as regarding the space, I think I'll just set the spacing between that. Let me just leave that at 12. Okay, let me just leave it at 12. And let me just make some adjustments here. Okay. Then the next part here we have the flag, the country, and the performance. So I have a plugin we can use to get that. Yeah, there's a plugin. So it's almost like there's a plugin for everything. Okay, so it's either we use a plugin or we can use content to like get colors of maps. Which do we do? We can try two ways. Yeah, we can actually try two ways. We can try two options. So, in terms of using plugins, you can actually search for a plugin called Flag. I know I've used that sometime before, like a very, very long time ago. I don't know if it was either the flag set by Icon Doc. I think it was just Flag alone. I think it was just Flag alone. Yeah, I think it was just Flag alone. So we can actually just search for countries. Um, But then, I just made a little mistake right now. So we're looking at countries right by seal, and we have just the US flag here. So that's tricky. So I think I might just change it here to top states by seal, and that way I can actually have some. Nah, we need countries over here. We really need countries over here. Okay, so you know what? I know what's gonna happen here. I will go about changing the map later on. But for now, let's just go with what we have over here, okay? Um United States. You have stuff like this. You can click on it and it just adds it like a frame. Yeah. It just adds like a frame. But if you're looking to use content reel, let's say you want to use an eclipse in this case here, size 44, and I could use content reel and I could head over to image and search for flag. Yeah, you can see here we have flags. And you can just get to use any of this here. It's simply just going to apply directly to the image. So I think I will use content trail in this case here. It's going to make my life way much easier compared to using this and then having to make adjustments all around. So I think I'll just go with this. So let's get started, guys. Okay, so I have this over here and I'll just close this for now. Okay, so just close this for now. And I'll have to make corrections to this as well. So if you recall, we kind of like did the vertical stream. So I'll change back to standard so it doesn't affect anything that we're doing, all this while. And for this, I would also be dropping the scale of this as well. So let's say I'm using 32 for this. Okay, let's just stick to 40. 40 is looking a little bit large. Okay. Let me see if I could, have this just fit into two columns. That's what I'm trying to see if that will be possible. But if that's not going to be possible, then I most likely would have to just, improvise. Should we add the amount? What do you guys think? Should we like add the amount? What do you guys think, guys? Maybe the amount is going to, let's add the amount. Let's add the amount. So I would just come over here and get this. Let me get this. All right. And simply just bring this over here. And we have this. I'll select both of them. I'll apply auto layout, change the direction over to this. I would set the spacing amongst them to be 4. I will leave this right here. I'll scale this back to 40. And as for the price, I would also adjust the color of this as well. And I'll select both of this item here and I'll apply auto layout to both of them, Shift A. I'll simply just duplicate this. I think one lovely thing I always love to do is make stuff a component, something I get to reuse. It helps me. So in case I try to make any kind of changes later on at later time, I don't have to go about doing this all the time, right? Multiple times. So I'm just going to leave that, make that a component. It makes our life easier. It makes our life easier. So if I want to like try out two versions of something, it's much easier for me to just switch between those two versions. Maybe I get to create a video on how to do that some other time. And say I'm showing information for just this. Um, Let me adjust this. Let's see how this looks like. Okay, okay. I totally feel this could be much better. This could be presented way much better. But before I do anything here, let me just apply auto layout to this. So I was looking at this, having the icons at the top, you know. At the same time, I'm also thinking about having like an actual flag, like using a squared shaped flag instead of this at the same time. But let me just leave it this way. Yeah, let me just leave it this way for now. Let's just leave it this way for now. So we have this part done. We have the map. I would really love to when we get to prototyping. I would really love to make this look really good. Make this look really good. But up to then, let's just work on this first. Then I'll select this, and as for the spacing, let me just place this right here by 24. From this to this as well. Let me also have it that way. Okay. Shift A. I'm already applying auto layout already. And I'll come over here and let's not forget my padding of 20 around. My fill of white as well. And corner radius of 16. And I'll just adjust that so everything looks okay. Okay. Now we have a little issue here. And that is because of we gave these guys here a fixed weight. So you know what's going to happen here. I'll come over here and let me give this a few container property. What do you guys think? If we set this here to hot content, what do you guys think? Okay. Yeah, I think that like solves it. That like solves the issue. Yeah, that like solves the issue. Then here I could let me just leave this right here at auto. Okay, let's just leave it this way for now. Let's leave it this way for now. And yeah, for this map, I would scale this. Okay, I would scale this. Or let's see if I give this a few container, it's kind of like going to make the map look stretched, even though it's not so obvious. So I'll simply just scale it instead. Okay, and resize this to just fit in here. All right, yeah. So we have something as simple as this. And we could also still move further to changing or updating the colors as well too. So if we want to get to follow any particular team, we can easily do that. But yeah, I think I want to make a little slight update here in terms of the yeah. Okay, so we have this, and we could even have like this section. I think it would be lovely to even have like those top countries like highlighted. It's going to be really beautiful if we can get to achieve that. So nope, not the stroke. So what we want to do here is, the top countries. We can have those area, kind of like spotlighted. One thing I would have loved was if you get to hover, you can actually see the interactivity on those sections, and that would be something nice that we can actually get to incorporate. And let me just fill this. Let's see how this is looking now. Let's see how this is looking. Hmm, not bad, not bad. Could be better. But let me just take this back to how it was. Let me just take it this way for now. Okay. Now, each other section, every other information we have over here, I believe this here can be made better. Don't mind me. Trying to use the AI feature to. Nah, but it's not updating right. So let's just leave it the way it was. So here where we have all the flags, we can easily change them. All right, we can easily change these flags using content reel. So to launch the plugin, previously used plugin, I use the command Control Alt P. Yeah, we have flags, and I can simply just click Apply All. So we have like different countries. Okay. And now this, I think this is like Czech Republic. Please pardon me if I don't get the colors. The Pardon me if I don't get the actual countries right though. Is that spelling of Czech Republic? Help me out here. But let me just say I have this right here, and I think this here is kind of like Japan. I honestly don't know what flag this is. I think this here is France, even though I'm not so sure. But we have all these other options here. Why is this all looking okay? But yeah, let's just leave it the way this is here. But I also noticed one thing here, which is like you can see from these maps here, this aspect or these areas that are white, it now makes it look somehow. So what I can do here is I can actually come over here to where I have my maps and let me just give them a stroke. Yeah, I'm going to give them a stroke and kind of like adjust the feel. All right, kind of like adjust the feel a little bit. So that way it's not looking like when you have like a white background, like everything is just all lost and not visible. So yeah, this is going to help out. This really, really helps out. And we simply have this here. We simply have this here. But I'm noticing one thing as well again here, which is each of this section here not following my alignment. And it looks like this here is using a wrap. So what I will do here is, let's do it this way instead. Now, here where I have these two items here, one, two, okay. If I select both of them, giving them a field container property, oops, Ctrl Z, okay, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. I still have a space of 4 here, okay. So what I can do here is, what is the width of this? The width for this right here is 144. So what I'll do here is, I'll come to this frame here, I'll just give it a width of 145. Now, let's see what's changed. Yeah, all of them are all 145. But this here looks to be more, way more. Hot content, please. Yeah, hot content. 145. Do we have, seems like we have items that are way larger. 24. Okay. So I can see some of these items here has uh you can see here the width is set to 166. I think I will just reset the size. Yeah, and it takes the one we've set for it, which is 145. I think this looks okay. Seems like we still have like a space, like two more spacing left though. 145. How come this is 3? Let me also reset the size of this. Okay, so I'll come over here and just make that 146 all around. Yeah, and no more spacing. Okay, so a few more things I would like to do here. I would like to switch position of this arrow. I would definitely want to switch that. I would want to switch that. Okay, okay. And I think I'll just stop here without making any further. Let me just put a pause here. Great. And let's see how this is looking now. Let's have a look on how this is looking. Okay, okay, okay. Not bad. Yeah, we said we're going to. Okay, the next section we have over here is where we have trending products. Okay, so let's get to work on that. Here, I'll come over here and I'll select that title. What was it called? Trending products. Okay. As a matter of fact, I could actually still use this here. But okay, let's just get to create one. Let's create one. Okay, so come over here and I'll just duplicate this. Trending products. And this product here would simply have an image. So this here will be product name. Simply select both of them and apply auto layout. There's a space between them. So I think this here I'll call category. So this will be product category. Then next we can have the price. Okay. All right. Great. So we have something as simple as this here. We have something as simple as this here. So we have the product image, product name and category, and we have the price. Okay. Now this is done, what I'll do over here is I would simply select both of this. All right. So you can actually choose which way you want to go, selecting this and this or the other way around. So I'll just select this two here, Shift A, and leave the spacing between them to be, let's just do that at 24. And I'll click on this section here and give this a fill width, or sorry, fill container rather. And I'll come over here, select both, and also apply auto layout. And yeah, we have this done. Now we could actually change this, click on this and, bring in an image. I will use content trail to help generate that. I'll use content trail to help generate that. So let's say we have about 10 trending products. Let's say we have 10. Let me select both of this right here and apply auto layout to both. And let me use our content trail to, update this right here. Remember, Control Alt P to launch content trail. Products. Oh, here's image, right? And I think I would like to use something that has. I should have made this a component just in case I want to make any changes later on. All right, let me just do for one here. I think let me just quickly do that. I always recommend make the component. It saves you time. Should in case you want to make any changes at a later time, it becomes very easy for you to just make the change once and then change all around later. All right, so remember your main component always stays outside, please. Do not leave your main component inside the design. It stays outside, please.
So let's select all product names. And we can update the price if we want. Let me just leave that this the way, the way it is. All right. Okay. So let's just say I want it this way. And we have that done and set. If you're looking for, let's say, particular, let's say you're looking for something in particular, maybe it's a shoe, you can actually search for shoe and you're going to get recommendations on that. So maybe I want to come over here and say search for shoe. So this is just me giving you like suggestions. All right. You can see here you have something for shoes. You have, a whole lot for shoes. A whole lot. All right. So let's see. This one here is, yeah, Adidas sneakers. Okay, so we have this done. All right, we have this done. I could use the Figma AI feature. Remember, like I said before, if you don't have the Figma AI feature, you can simply just create enough duplicate that you need, and then you can change all of that later. Okay. So we have something as simple as this here. Now, what I will do here is, you see, where I have this image here. I would love to just give this add a background here. And you can see it's kind of like ads for every other thing. And I would simply drag this to the bottom, okay, and then give this a background of white, or maybe a gray background. Maybe we can do that. Just give that like a gray background. Just give this a gray background. Okay, so say we are okay with what we have over here. I will select this and this, and apply auto layout to both of them. Shift A. Remember layout grid. Okay, so these cards here are really not filling up. All right, so you can see here the issues from this here. So what we'll do here is, where I have my card, you can see this is just the beauty of creating these components. So instead of me having to come over here now and start making adjustments, I will just do that from here. So I'll come over here, click on this, and give this here a few container property, and that's solve my problem. And so what we do next now is, for the spacing, let me use the same thing I use over the other end there. Padding, an oral padding of 20, a corner radius of 16, and a background fill of white. Great. And we have that here too. So I'll space this here by 24. And there we go. And there we go. So here we can just make some few
So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We can still make this look really good, if by adding dividers. I think I might just increase the spacing between each. Maybe make that 12. Okay, let me make that 12. I think some of these images here, they all have a background. Hence the reason why these images here, have this, background feel, but the rest don't. They all have like a background. So you know what I will do here? So I'm just going to use the Figma AI feature to kind of like remove the background. So let me use that to remove the background for those images. Okay, so we have to select an image at a time. So you can do that, for the other ones as well. I could actually come over here, copy that, and we can remove background for that. But if you don't have the Figma AI feature, you could actually use a plugin called Remove BG. So if I launch my plugin and I use a plugin called Remove BG, this here is a plugin. Okay. Now, if you're using this plugin for the first time, it's going to prompt you to set your API key. And our advice, it's very, very straightforward. Just follow the instruction. You're going to be guided on how to go about doing that. So just follow the instruction that was given, and trust me, you'll be able to get your API key, paste it here, and then start using it all around. Okay, so it's going to be very, very, very easy for you to do that. Now, in this case here, I'm just going to just since it's more of like a duplicate, I already have something over there. So I'll just delete that, and I could come over here and pick something else to, fill up that space. Now this is looking good gradually. Now let's come over here, and I want to change the color a little bit. So for this here, let me just move this here to the 1999. Then you can try to, make changes in these cases here. If you want to have like random values over there. And we can, manipulate this a little bit. So here, let's see, um, this is dropping. Okay, and let's give this here a feel. Let's look at giving this here a feel of white. And let's see how this looks like, guys. And voila, here we go. This is what we have right now for our dashboard. Okay, so um, we could actually go about changing this, but I believe with the guide that has been given, you can go about creating your own line charts for each of these for each of these respective cards. You can go about creating that. But this is how we go about creating a dashboard for our e-commerce page. Let's work a little bit on the prototype and the appearance a little bit and see how we can make that better. Now, if you look closely at what I have right here, I can scroll, and let me make this here to fit exactly to the width. Now I'm setting this to fit to the width. And you can see that we can't scroll, even though we have some much information at the bottom. Now let's get to sort out that particular prototype. Also, our sidebar is supposed to be static in the sense that it's not supposed to scroll. It's always going to be visible. Same for the navigation bar at the top here. It's always supposed to be visible and not scroll with the content we have. So let's work that out. Heading over to our design, I would click on my sidebar. Okay, I'll click on my sidebar and I will head over to prototype. And right here in prototype, you can see here, currently this is positioned to scroll with the parents. And I would come over here and have this say stay in a place. So it's fixed. And one last thing I'll do here is, you know what? Let me show you. Let me just set this right scroll parent. I want to show you guys something. So I'm going to come over here. I'll select my dashboard page. Okay. And I will set this right here to vertical scroll, right? So overflow, which means you have much content vertically and you can scroll up and bottom. If I should come back here, and I think I will have to reload this. And when you scroll, you can see that everything is scrolling, including the sidebar. So for us to have the sidebar to be fixed and not scroll like the rest, what we're going to do here is to come over here, select the sidebar, and have it to be fixed. That way, it doesn't scroll with the item. Now, if I should head back here and I scroll, you can see that everything scrolls now. And you can see that everything scrolls now. I would like to do the same thing as well for the top navigation bar. You know, the page title and every other item you have here is not supposed to scroll with the page content. So we're going to do the same thing as well too. Now come over here, click on my top app bar, and I'll say here, sticky at top edge. I'll set that to sticky at top edge, and I'm come back here, and you can see when I'm scrolling, you have this right here. Only the content is scrolling. Looking closely, you'd see that the content are scrolling right above the top app bar. It should be going underneath and not above. And when you get to see when you get to see situations like this, it's most likely because the item that you actually have here, it's way lower somewhere. So what I'll do here is I'll come back here to my top app bar and I'm going to send it all the way to the front. You can see here the top app bar is way at the bottom, which is the reason why every other item here, is simply scrolling above it. So how do you do that? You can simply, the long way is to right click and we have this here, bring to front. Or you can just press this front square bracket and that is done. Let's see how that looks like now. Now scroll. And you can see every content is going underneath that section there, which is exactly what we wanted. And there we go. There we go. Information's around here. When we have the chat, given what we've treated and how I explained, you can actually create your own custom chart, line chart, to relate to the information or data you're trying to present. But aside that, I think this is all good. I'll just stop here and thank everyone for staying up to this moment. Let me know if you have any questions. You can shoot me a message in the comment section. I'm going to respond to them. Lastly, I think later on we'll look at the collapse states and see how would this content side, how we're going to expand this in a case where the sidebar is collapsed. So you should look out for that. Thank you.